For the first time in nearly a decade, Stellaris is getting an entirely new way to play. With the arrival of Stellaris Nomads, you'll be able to roam the galaxy as a single ship or an entire fleet, no planets required. At the center of your empire is the Arkship, your capital, your home, and your fortress. This massive vessel replaces traditional worlds and can be upgraded through your journey. In collaboration with Paradox Interactive, I had a chance to get early access and give you a sneak peek of what's coming. The expansion also includes 4 new origins: the Sacred Path, lead a fleet of pilgrims on a galaxy-spanning spiritual journey; the Forever Cruise, balance the demands of a luxury-obsessed elite with a crew keeping the dream alive; Void Fares, the standard nomadic empire origins giving you freedom to forge your own path among the stars; and last but not least, Heirs of the Khan. Play as the heir to a murdered Khan, survive marauding hit squads through cunning, bribery, and determination until you're strong enough to reclaim your throne. As a Crusader Kings 3 player, one of these immediately stood out to me. You're telling me I can become the Khan of Khans, but in space? A title that was once reserved for a mid-game crisis can now be claimed by any player willing to avenge their fallen clan. So today we're going to find out just how difficult it is to get revenge, restore our Arkship, rise as the next great Khan in Stellaris Nomads. We begin our great Khan adventure by setting up our empire. And who better to represent the horse lords of space than actual horsemen? They look a bit more like mules than horses, but that's besides the point. For our ethics, we went with fanatic, militarist, and authoritarian, ruled by a mighty Star Emperor. Our civics focused on the new Nomad playstyle Hired Gun, which provides better rewards for military contracts, and Caravan Master, which improves way stations, the lifeblood of a nomadic empire. It also allows you to build 2 additional way stations, helping us gather resources more efficiently as we work towards our goals. For our origin, we naturally chose Heir of the Khans, which sets us on the path of becoming the next Khan, provided we take revenge on our former clan. The downside is that hostile marauder fleets occasionally show up to harass us, reminding us of our turbulent past. Since we knew we'd be fighting constantly, I thought Reavers would be a perfect pick. Grants all of your commanders the Plunderer trait, allowing you to earn consumer goods and trade whenever enemy ships are destroyed. We also took Wasteful in exchange for Enduring. For some reason, I've developed a habit of making leaders live as long as possible in my recent playthroughs. Finally, we selected the military Arkship as our starting vessel. If our goal is to become the Khan of the stars, we should probably start with a ship that actually wins fights. Another neat feature as nomadic is that you can choose your starting system from a selection of several options, giving you a bit more control over early game. With everything in place, we are finally ready to set course across the galaxy. Our Mongol-inspired people would seek revenge against their former clans, and if all went according to plan, claim the title of Khan of Khans amongst the stars. We started out in a random sector not too far from our former clanmates. We should make our way slowly towards our former clan lands so that we can take our revenge. For the first few years, our main goal was to gather as many resources as possible so we could expand the airship and support a massive fleet. I have a feeling reclaiming the throne won't be so easy, so we should expect pretty big battle ahead. Nomad resource gathering works a bit differently compared to our planet-based empires. You can build a way station in most systems, and with the right modules installed, they'll harvest whatever resources are available there. For example, our home system had a healthy amount of research deposits, so we swapped out the default solar panels for research modules instead. The other way we gather resources are through harvesting operations with engineering ships or by using our Arkship itself. Because of that, we sent our science vessels out to locate valuable systems that our other ships could exploit and help fuel our expansion. Once a system had been harvested, it takes a few months to replenish before we can return and collect from it again. Before long, we received the first of what would likely be many military contracts, a simple marauder squad that was no match for our mighty Arkship. All right, let's see how this enemy installation goes. You need to stay back while we shoot and blow up this. Hopefully we win this fight. That would be so embarrassing if we lost immediately. Great start. Great start for everybody. Sweet. We did get the resources though. For our first tradition tree, we picked Discovery. Since we'll be traveling through huge amounts of star systems and desperately in need of more research, it felt like an obvious choice. We're gonna rename him to Little T. Once he becomes an adult, we can maybe call him Big T. This time around, we rolled the Ute as our precursor civilization. As someone who's only recently returned to Stellaris, I'm not entirely sure how they compare to other precursor chains. I'm hoping they are as useful as the Voltum, whose relic gave us a 40% ship weapon damage bonus for a year. That would come in handy with the large-scale battles we had ahead. We also begin with several Arkship objectives that need to be completed. Let's look at what a couple things we need to get our readiness of our Arkship. First, we need to clear some bays. Next, we need to flush the coolant in a black hole system. And then after that, we need to harvest resources from like a gas giant, a frozen world, and a molten world. While searching for a suitable black hole, we stumbled across a terrifying space cloud packed with some serious firepower. That is a scary ass military installation. Can we investigate? Send one of our boys to go deal with that. Probably, can we take the decision? Can we just go ahead and take this decision right now? Deciding we weren't interested in becoming space dust, we found a different black hole to use as our garbage disposal. We also triggered the L cluster event chain surprisingly early in this campaign. Since I really don't know where that storyline ends, we're going to leave it on the back burner for now. For our first ascension perk, we chose Master of Nature for its resource harvesting bonuses. As I've said before, we need every resource we can get if we're going to keep the Arkship running at full capacity. I'm not sure if it's just my luck or if this region of space is absolutely flooded with archaeology sites, but we have already discovered 4 of them in the first 16 years alone. Hopefully we get some good artifacts from them. I can't with this. We have too many excavation sites. I'm supposed to become the Great Khan, not excavation Indiana Jones, man. We stumbled across Star Mall, every Midwesterner's wet dream. This random system gifted us a habitat, which unfortunately is completely useless since we're not allowed to settle planets. On the bright side, it also gave us a complimentary map that boosts our trade output. So that wasn't a total loss. With another artifact in our collection, I decided it was finally time to start constructing a grand archive so we could properly display all the treasures we'd been gathering in our journey. Shortly after, we received an invitation to Champions Forge Live, better known as the CFL, RIP to the Canadian Football League for apparently losing their copyright battle sometime in the far future. The event introduced us to a new character named Sarah Loon. She came with some solid stats, but most importantly, she had her own questline centered around uncovering her forgotten past. Sorry, Temujin, reclaiming the throne can wait. We got a mysterious space lady to help. Naturally, we immediately fired our current fleet ambassador and replaced them with Sarah Loon. With our newest recruit aboard, we continue to search for the Star Lane route leading to our former clan. Once we know exactly where they are, we can build a much more efficient network of way stations and supercharge our resource gathering. At one point, we somehow managed to start building 2 grand archives at the same time. Fortunately, we caught that mistake before wasting a mountain of resources. Meanwhile, our Arkship developed a rather unfortunate plumbing problem. We've got backed up toilets. Is that gonna cause us some issues? Probably. Some kind of awful smell was spreading throughout the ship. Thankfully, Sarah Loon distracted us from our increasingly stinky living conditions by sharing fragments of her damaged memories, sending us halfway across the galaxy in search of clues. Eventually, we discovered that the source of the plumbing disaster was the strange creature living inside the trash compactor. Being a reasonable and intelligent leader, we chose the only logical solution: burn the entire thing to the ground. Not long after that, the Grand Archive was finally complete, giving us a place to proudly display all of those minor artifacts we'd been collecting along the way. Do we want these all active at once? I don't think so. Habitability can turn off. Energy from jobs is fine. Unity, these 2 are fine. Trade goods. After years of searching for answers about Sarah Loon's past, we finally uncovered evidence of a wrecked Arkship. The only problem was that it was much farther away than we expected. Still, we'll cross half the galaxy for our girl, and I have a feeling there's going to be a pretty sweet reward waiting for us at the end of this questline. During our trek halfway across the galaxy for Sarah Loon's questline, I've been surprised by how few other empires we've encountered. I'm not sure if it's a side effect of playing as a nomad, or if I've accidentally turned down the empire count in the settings. Right now, it feels like it's just me, the marauders I'm hunting, and a couple of fallen empires scattered around the galaxy. While traveling through the hyperlanes, we've discovered a strange anomaly that seems to be drawing space whales from all over the galaxy into a single system, or at least a whole lot of them. Whatever's happening there can't be good. At long last, we finally located Sarah Loon's lost Arkship. Confirms that only a single juvenile passenger survived. Damn girl, what'd you do? Requires the Arkship in orbit. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, I mean, can we get another Arkship? Unfortunately for the both of us, it was so far off our current route that attempting to reach it might bankrupt our own Arkship in the process. Paradox, please let us send a science ship, a military vessel, or literally any other ship type to handle these missions. So for now, poor Sarah Loon's story is heading to the back burner. Maybe we'll come back to it once we're Khan. Then again, if we're actually becoming Khan, we'll probably have a few other things demanding our attention at that point. Back aboard the Arkship, we started running into trade issues thanks to the enormous amount of resources we needed to keep gathering and burning in order to maintain our best modifier. Eventually, we began encountering more of the galactic inhabitants. We discovered another fallen empire, another group of marauders, and even a human civilization on the far side of the galaxy. The good news is that we unlocked the ability to construct a second Arkship. That should be incredibly useful, both for helping Sarah Loon complete her quest and for supporting the massive fleet we're going to need in the future. And speaking of the future, we finally got a glimpse of the forces standing between us and Khanship. Let's just say reclaiming the title of Khan isn't going to be a walk in the park. The fight is shaping up to be a very nasty one. Very bad. Okay. Okay, let's get out of there before that happens. All right, so we can't begin to f with that. That is just too crazy to have any sort of things. We might have to rely on neighbors to help us get to that strength, but now we know what we need to do. After 45 years of searching, we finally encountered an empire within our space that was willing to offer us a contract. This is another mechanic that is introduced with Nomads update, allowing us to gain favor with other empires by completing small jobs for them. The best contracts so far are the research ones, since they only pause our progress for a short time and don't require our Arkship to travel halfway across the galaxy. So we decided to cozy up with the sovereignty of Cilia, hoping they'll keep feeding us contracts and maybe even lend us military support when we inevitably clash with these marauding forces. While juggling the contracts and continuing the grind for resources, we triggered an event requiring us to fully refurbish the Arkship. Several decks were beginning to fail one after another. Thankfully, we had enough alloy and energy stockpiled to commit fully to repair for a few months. Our efforts with the Cilia paid off, and we successfully negotiated more rights with them, significantly improving our research output and trade value. Really tying our wagon to these guys, but I mean, it's kind of the hope. We also picked up a new scientist named Screw. Not entirely sure what they are, but if they're able to operate a science vessel and have decent stats, we're not here to ask questions. We also finally researched Arkship engineering, allowing us to upgrade the Arkship to stage 2. This unlocks more modules and significantly expands the number of districts we can build in. I don't know if this is going to be our main attack platform. It is nice for now, but once we build another one, that one I might more want to be the attack one. So for now, I think we do technician. The Utah event chain also wrapped up, leading us to the system containing their homeworld. This gave us a much needed boost to research and other resources. We also acquired the Crypt Core relic, which increases mega construction speed and boosts energy weapon fire rate. Not the strongest relic overall, but still useful for our purposes. We then chose the Voidborn Ascension perk, gaining additional bonuses to our Arkship along with various modifiers when visiting remarkable systems. With the Arkship upgraded, we can now extract far more resources from planetary systems by strip mining them. Where we once only gained a few hundred resources, we now pulling thousands depending on the system. All right, pretty good. I mean, thus far we made a new friend. We can have a ton of contracts coming in. Looks like we have visual representation of how strong this system is. It's very strong. With all these additional leaders on the payroll, we started to hemorrhage unity and ran into problems with our food supplies. So we did the only sensible thing, fire a few underperforming leaders, and begin adding more food modules to our way stations. Of course, this decision disrupted our trade balance, which forced us to compensate by building additional trade infrastructure aboard the Arkship. This in turn caused a dip in our consumer goods. We're running a very delicate economy here, especially since most of our resource comes from extraction, which relies on waiting for systems to regenerate, with our AI handling the logistics through a fleet of 6 ships. That's fine. Another man's death laser is another man's laser that does 8% more damage. Meanwhile, the Cilia suggested we become their vassals. I took that personally, so this friendship is officially on a timer. We also unlocked the Dyson Swarm, which allows you to build one around a star, multiplying the resource by 5. The unit costs combined with a lack of kick-ass stars really made it a non-starter. Looking back, it might have actually been worth it at only 5 ally per month, considering how fast it could have accelerated our tech progress. Then things got interesting when the Cilia made a surprisingly strong trade offer. We would like to negotiate trade with your nation. We'll give you our food for jobs, and you give us, exceptional for a common? Is that what this homegirl is about to say? Agree. The curators also approached us with a powerful relic designed for hunting down space whales and dealing extra damage versus leviathans. Conveniently, we already know the location of the space whale queen, so the timing couldn't be better. We added another civic perk, this time Distinguished Admiralty, to further boost our military strength in preparation for the upcoming major conflict. Finally, we managed to stabilize our economy and balance the books. We no longer are hemorrhaging key resources, and the airship is running smoothly once again. Their systems and came to us requesting assistance. Considering they still think they're better than us, and given that I still haven't helped our homegirl Sarah Loon acquire her Arkship, we're not exactly rushing to their aid. By 2276, we finally secured the third and final upgrade for our Arkship. Our hostile target loudly in the system as they're persuaded. Chase at the ends here, exile. We have the target locked on your reactor. You talk a lot for a dead Mongol. Execution changed hostile. Bam.
Fleet action underway.
So insignificant. We blew through them so quickly. By 2280, this unlocked a major decision: install massive capital class shipyard or have a big laser. Since building a huge fleet is both expensive and frankly less exciting than a giant laser, we went with the obvious choice: big laser. Of course, the weapon wouldn't be ready for another 5 years, so we continued our expansion and exploration in the meantime. We done here? No, still a lot more months before we get the laser, big laser. I want my big laser, child. How am I gonna get my big laser? Then just before the laser was complete, we made another questionable but very on-brand decision. We began construction of another military variant Arkship. Because if one giant laser is good, 2 giant lasers are obviously better. Its speciality beyond being a mobile death beam is boosting consumer goods and trade output. But enough planning, let's see this thing in action. After all this time and resource invested into the big laser, it's finally time to test whether it is up to the hype. Cool. Can I see the big laser, please?
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Can I see the big laser some more, please? God, the big laser is does it just kill a ship every time it hits someone? The big laser turns, dude. Let's see how it goes up against one of the weaker systems still held by our former clanmates. Let's see how bad it goes. Okay, pretty bad. No, well, actually, we just melted their fleet. The fleet is melted. Their fleet is dead. That fleet is dead. We're destroying the system. Everything is going our way. We are the best. Nobody ever doubt us ever again. We are the best. We are the best. Don't ever doubt us. We're so much better than everybody else. Except for probably time to jet. One big ship's entered. Several other ships got absolutely dominated. Holy shit, that was insane. Did we destroy their Arkship? That's crazy. After our impressive display of laser firepower, it was time to bring our second Arkship up to the same level. Just like the first one, though, that upgrade process was going to take a while. Meanwhile, our neighbors and temporary allies were once again dealing with massive rebellions in their territory. Too bad they didn't have a friend with a giant laser-equipped Arkship ready to come to their rescue. By 2298, we prepared to take on the space whale Leviathan when our diplomatic relationship with Cilia suddenly collapsed. As it turns out, the AI doesn't appreciate it when you strip mine one of their systems. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that until it was already too late. Yeah, okay, that one's on me. I didn't realize that was gonna piss you off. Yeah. Did I ruin this relationship? Yeah, of course Either way, the alliance had always been one of convenience rather than friendship. To make up for the loss in trade, we quickly opened negotiations with one of the other regional powers. Then, in 2300, we finally took the plunge, with both Arkships now armed with massive lasers. I mean, thus far it seems pretty good, except they are destroying our whole fleet there. Surprisingly, we discovered our very own Captain Ahab. Somehow the poor guy had been trapped inside the whale for who knows how long. Unfortunately, we also lost our heir, Little T, during the battle. It was a tragic end, especially since he came so close to seeing his father claim the throne. His sister stepped up to take his place, earning the name Big T. After some retooling and reorganizing, it was finally time to face the main force of our former clanmates. We were staring down several fleets, at least 10 starbases, and more than 100,000 fleet power concentrated in a single system. Our side was considerably smaller. We had 2 Arkships, a modest force of corvettes and cruisers, and 1 massive battleship commanded by Captain Ahab himself. Then, just before the assault began, Emperor Temujin finally passed away. Unable to personally fulfill his dream of vengeance, he left the task to his daughter. Big T wasted no time. Determined to honor her father's legacy, she immediately ordered an all-out assault on the enemy stronghold. Let's get this bad boy going. We're gonna come in and we're gonna destroy this thing. Whatever this is, it's gotta go. This battleship.
Fleet action underway.
I think we're winning this. Hard to say. Hard to say because the fleet's being absolutely destroyed. Can we build a science ship mid-combat? The answer is yes. Mid-combat, you can pop a science ship right out of this arc like it's nobody's fucking business. Holy shit, what? Just in case you were wondering. And then we'll jump into this system. Do it again. Do it again now. Big lasers, absolutely bigly lasering. Jesus. Did we not bring in the second? Oh, well, this one 1v1'd everything. That makes sense why our fleet was destroyed. Although some of the pirates and mercenary fleets may still be unaccounted for, the loss of their space dwelling. Below that, they cannot recover. This puts the definite end to their raids. All we have to do is decide the entire galaxy is our enemy. Let's sound the drum of war. We're not interested in find some other fools. Become the Great Khan. Big T! Jesus, okay. Nomadic horsemen. We've become that we have so sought to be. The Khan of Khans. We started as an heir of the Khans. We built a nomadic empire focused on military contracts, way stations, resource harvesting while searching for our former clanmates. Along the way, we recruited Saraloon, expanded and upgraded Arkships, stabilized a fragile economy, and eventually armed 2 Arkships with massive laser cannons. After defeating a space Leviathan and surviving the collapse of our alliance with Cilia, Temujin died before reclaiming the throne, leaving Big T to lead the final assault, and that's how you become Khan of space. Hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, have a good rest of your day.